So, yeah,
Okay.
All right.
So one of the guys will be.
Good morning, everyone. Today's date is Friday, December 10th, 2021. It's about 9:32 a.m., so I'll call our work session to order. We'll come back to the auditor. She's not here yet. She had to step out. Also the treasurer, so we'll go down to my items. The first one I have is an update on the Hale County Adult Sexual Assault Response Team. If you'll recall, that's a legislative change that we made a month or so ago, and we named members to it, and they just sent a letter saying that they did meet on November 29th. The group had to have a meeting before December 1st, and they just sent a letter stating that they had a meeting and who was present. So even though it'll be on Monday's agenda, we won't need any action. It's just something I wanted to show the court, and we'll put in the minutes that they did meet. I'll have the Petersburg EMS report. Let's see, I may have that today. I don't believe it's in Monday's.
It's in
Monday's packet, so let's see here. That report is for October of 2021. They had one billable run within the city, and that was all for the month. October, they had a total revenue of $2,597, total expense of $10,318.36, for a difference of a negative $7,721.36. So we'll vote on that Monday.
While we're talking about Petersburg EMS, did they ever get us any information on whether or exactly what they're doing?
Yeah, it is. Well, they have an agreement letter that we had to have Jim look at from last time, and I'll get to it in just a second. All right. Okay, we also had an agreement from Agri-Life Extension Service, and Jim looked it over. It's one of these where it's fill in the blank type deals, you know, it's a standardized contract, and you just go in and I guess they provide it for all the counties they serve, and then you go in and just put your information in. The thing that concerned, and I won't speak for Jim now that he's here, but I believe the thing that Jim said that we really needed to do was it asked for a beginning period and an ending period, and that we would probably need to do that with some, like a yearly date, you know, from a certain date of the year to the end of the year.
Is this that deal, they want confirmation that we're providing phones, computers, office, whatever?
Yeah, it's just an agreement that y'all are gonna mainly provide some budgetary support for the extension office. And my suggestion would be just to put in, that was why I asked the judge to take it back to y'all, because y'all had approved it, but there weren't, there weren't any, and I don't know why they would send this out, but there weren't any start and end dates to it, so my suggestion would be to say January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, and then I think there's a provision that it renews for a year, you know, thereafter.
Without some type of written notice
right,
before.
Without having to do anything. I think the only way it doesn't is if you say, hey, we're not gonna do this anymore, so.
Okay. All right. So on Monday, what I'll do is I'll have a copy of it all, the blanks filled in, and on the blank I'll have a beginning period of January 1st of 2022 and an ending period of December 31st, 2022. Okay? Any other questions on that? And then the next item is an agreement letter with Petersburg EMS. You know, I presented last time that Mr. Layton, the director of the EMS over in Petersburg, had asked that we write a letter. They're asking for a variance from their accrediting agency that says that they will have EMT on the ambulance, but the second person may not be an EMT. That's the variance I believe they're asking for. And when I presented it, Jim wanted to look at it a little further, and Jim did draft agreement, an emergency medical service agreement with them. And if you'll look that over this weekend, and then Monday, if you have any questions, then we'll do that. If you agree to do that, then I'll get with Jim and word a letter to them. I wrote one, but it's probably not, it's pretty simple, so I'll get Jim to look at it and see if it's sufficient or not. So, any questions about that? All right. And then item number 5, we had a correction on the minutes of September 27th. States that 2 properties in the health center were listed at $250 each. Minutes read that read $250 for both properties. So we need to correct that they were $250 each and not.
No, for both, $250 for both.
Okay, and it read that it was $250 each, but it should have read $250 total.
Right.
Okay, and so we'll make that correction. And then item number 6, I provided you information that Hale County is eligible TxDOT Economically Disadvantaged County Program for the fiscal year of 2022.
Sure.
And so I provided that information to y'all, that it comes from the Department of Transportation. And so that may be some benefit or interest to you, to the commissioners. Let's see. I also have enclosed the 2022 lawn care proposal from Roger Foote. It did change some. I totaled it up. There's about a, let's see here. It actually went down from 2021, about $600. There's specific items that went up, such as the mowing, and certain items that went up a little bit, but he also didn't include some things that he had in the past. And so, like I said, basically look it over. If you want the 2021 copy, I'll be happy to provide that to you, but to be honest with you, it basically comes out pretty well even from what it was. And so we'll ask you to approve that on Monday. And then we have a 2022-2023 ballot and resolution for the board of directors for the Hale County Appraisal District. You were each provided a copy of that. We award so many votes to people on that list. And then if we have any additional votes after we cast the votes for the people we want to, I believe in the past we have spread that around to some of the smaller entities and allowed them some of our votes. So if y'all would, Monday, come prepared as to who to cast your votes for. Okay? Any questions about any of that? Okay. And then item number D is Commissioner Precinct 1.
Yeah, I wanted to discuss enforcing or putting in a burn ban for Hale County. If you've been out driving around, and as many modules have caught on fire and the house fires we've had here and there, and it doesn't look like much rain in the forecast. I just think it would behoove us right now to discuss it again Monday and put one in effect starting Monday for, was it 90 days, Jim? 60, 90?
I think maybe 90.
I think it would be smart to think about that over the weekend.
Also, it would help with the concern over the fireworks over the first. You know, we don't have a lot of that here, but they do sell the fireworks.
You do have to, on fireworks, there's a separate action you have to take on that, and that we may be past, because I know that takes.
You have to give them.
We have to have a certain amount of notice.
I forgot
Before
about
they
that.
order
Yeah.
them.
But irregardless, it would be a good time to put in a burn ban because of the issue, so. All right, we'll look at that. Any questions on that? All right, and then the next item is our district clerk.
I'm here for the district courts, and they, we did the sound system, and they were wanting the desk mics, and I had come and y'all approved to get those desk mics that they can move around. And the company called me, Lubbock Sound called, and they have discontinued those. So we've got to find, so they found another place, and the other place, the only thing is through more, of course. And they've ordered, they haven't ordered them till y'all approve it, but they are for 6 mics, 3 in each court. The first one was like 14,000 something, and this one's 17,245.08. So I'll just be asking y'all to, yeah, or nay that one.
Treat those nicer when I'm in court.
Yeah.
Any questions about any of that? Okay, all right, thank you, Carl. And then item number F is, I'm assuming Jesse, Special Project Coordinator. I would assume it's for the SPC, I've never seen
No, I've never seen that
I
either.
had to sit and really
Special
think.
project coordinator.
That is the title unless it's changed and I'm unaware. But, to discuss and approve his request to move $1,500 from group health insurance to his office supplies to pay for year-end expenditures. And as y'all have known throughout this year, due to the changes and everything, that budget wasn't really, accommodating for all of the needs for this year. So there is money left in group health insurance, and the only reason it's on there is because normally the court's intention is that any monies left in the payroll line items at the end of the year goes back into the employee benefit to help offset those expenses. So that's the only reason that he's asking to move it down to stay within his budget. And we've looked at it together, Jesse and I, and feel that would get him through the end of the year, where January 1 he'll start a new budget. So that's all that is.
All right, any questions about that? Okay. Melinda, going back up, do you have anything?
I'm just gonna have a few, I think I'm gonna have 3 line item transfers on Monday. Looking at them right now from today's bills, so I might have a few more just depending on year end, but my other stuff is on Monday, so I'll get to it when you do Monday.
Overall, I think we've done pretty good. We haven't
We
had a
have.
whole lot, over this time of the year, we usually have a whole bunch, so.
I mean, it'll be, the next time you never know, but
Okay. All right. And then our last item for today's agenda, we have a Miss Norma Daniel with us. She owns some property is it north of town, Jason?
Yes.
Okay. And she's here to talk to the court and discuss water well and tax issues. Okay. Okay.
You want to go first?
Yeah, yeah, why don't you just tell us what you're wanting the court to try to help you with?
Well, I've been without water for over a year already, because my water well supposedly, the last person that went to go check on the water well said that it went dry. And that water well is feeding two houses. It's feeding my house and another resident's house, which it looks like it's mine too, but that's a different issue. But, I needed some financial help. I'm a single woman, I'm a truck driver. My income does not provide me enough money to get it done. And for some of the people that I have talked about that deal with water wells, you know, I had already 3 different access to it. One that it might gone dry, and the other one that, since, it's gonna cost me least to dig it deeper and make it, you know, to where I could have more water, it's gonna cost me between $5,000 to $10,000. And, it's 2.7 acres, and I live on the farm, you know, and stuff like that. But since I'm a single woman and I'm not the age that requires, you know, to get some financial help, but at least if y'all could give me some sort of financial. And another thing too, on my taxes, they're charging me water taxes, and I haven't had no water for over a year. So I was over here thinking, well, why am I paying for something that I don't have? Or why I'm paying for something that is not providing me with any financial help of any kind? You know, so that's an issue that I wanted to bring up. You know, and since I understand, you know, we have to pay taxes, you know, for owning a property or having a home and stuff like that. I understand that part. But on the issue I'm having is like, why are we paying for something that we don't have? It's just like the school, right? We have to pay taxes in school. I don't have no more kids in school. But I understand that because, you know, I still have grandkids or nephews and stuff like that, and it goes for the community. But and then on my electricity, on my water well, on my water, I pay my water in Swisher County. And I don't know why, you know, I'm paying in Swisher County a water bill over there and electric in Swisher County when I'm actually a Hale County resident. You know, and that's another issue. I know back then, when I had it changed from P.O. Box to a physical address, you know, they had some issues back then, you know, that there were disputation who was I belonging to, or who area did that belongs to back then. Because they wanted to charge me taxes here, and they wanted to charge me taxes over there. So I'm over here like, why am I gonna be paying taxes on both places? I mean, where did I belong to? So I went to the Hale County appraiser, and I told him, hey, I need y'all to show me where did I belong. Because I know Swisher County, they pay taxes on your vehicles, they pay taxes on your house, and they pay other taxes that add to your bills. So it's a little bit different over there to here, that I understand. But my old Tom Howard, the old owner that I bought from it, I don't know if y'all had heard from him or know about him. His name is Tom Howard. You know, so like I said, I got 2 houses that is under my name, and they're somehow in the middle of the year, or in the middle of the thing, you know, the taxes got divided. So they divide me on my taxes for my property. So that's a different issue that I'm dealing with right now. But the main thing I need right now, I need some financial help. Or else, release me from paying taxes on something that I do not have.
Well, I was sitting there thinking, the taxes on the water, that not be coming from
It's probably the underground water.
Appalachian Water District, because I think where we live now, it's if you're in the country, it comes from the High Plains Underground Water District. It doesn't come from Hale County or the city of Plainview. And you're-
I don't know where it comes from, I just know your bill's here,
Well-
it's time to pay taxes, go pay taxes.
And I think the way they set it up, doesn't it come through the appraisal district?
I believe that.
I think the High Plains Underground Water District sends their taxes to the tax appraisal office over here, and you pay it to them, and then they disperse it from the county taxes back to the High Plains Underground Water District.
But I don't have no underground water, I don't have nothing, so,
It's
for
sort
over
of-
in here, so I
What
don't
he's
know.
saying, it's sort of like you talked about the school
Yeah.
tax. You pay a water tax even though you pay for that district
Yes,
and not water to your personal
property.
property. And so, and the electric companies, Hale County is serviced by several electric companies, Swisher Electric, Lighthouse Electric, Excel Energy. So, as far as you getting a bill for electrical service from Swisher County Electric, that's common, because lots of our rural areas are serviced by those providers.
And see, I grew up, that feedlot that used to be across the road, I grew up, my dad was the manager and part owners and a bunch of stuff with that
Yeah,
man.
because I moved there, I've been living there for over 20 years.
Yeah,
And I was living there when, the feedlot was running,
yeah, Bob Carter and them owned it,
yeah.
yeah. And my dad and them were on Swisher Electric, that feedlot was on Swisher Electric. Going from there back to the water, I also know back in the 80s, there was basically no water out there in that little square of the world. And I talked to a farmer that I grew up with that owns a place right down the road from you. When me and Jesse talked about this the other day, his farm is probably about a half a mile or a mile from you. His farm is dry land. There's one well on the north end of his place. He said if you turn it on, he said it might pump a garden hose really, really slow. So that section of property right through there, it's.
And see, and that's
it's
what I heard
basically
last,
gone.
that's what I did heard last, that somebody a mile away from me had opened a water well and made it a water well there and made it deeper, which it could have caused it that my water well went dry, you know, but, I mean, around me, there's a lot of farms.
Mhm. It's all
Farmers.
farmland.
And I understand that. I know, but if there's help for the farmers, why can't there be financial help for residents living in that area? Because I'm not the only house. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4 houses. The other one, the house that it was before me, you know, I heard that he stayed without water too. They had to open a new water well. But see, they got the money. I don't. The farmers around me got the money. And they got the financial help. From all those houses around there, I mean, I'm not the only one. You know, that's another point that I wanted to bring out too. I said, as a citizen, as the community, you know, y'all have that right, you know, y'all have more rights than anybody in the residence area and stuff like that. I understand that. But without taking the responsibility of the houses that is around us. You know, that's my point. You know, y'all got financial help because you're farmers. Residents don't.
Can I elaborate on that, Judge? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
well, when we first was contacted by Ms. Daniel, of course, I realized, you know, we've never provided any assistance to anyone.
Yeah.
So I had Jesse start calling around to see if there was any agencies or government agencies that could help them. And so, Jesse, I'll let you talk now.
Now, we'll make this brief. I'll give you a quick handout so you'll see the property. And, Chris, thanks, sir.
If any of y'all are wondering, This property is, if you go from Finney on the highway back towards Edmondson, when you get down there, there's a little S-curve out there where Carter Fitzgerald he was. She lives right there in that S-curve.
So, real brief, Ms. Daniel came to me a week and a half or so ago, and we discussed this. Basically, what she told you is what she told me also, so, and like the judge said, like, we got to making some phone calls. But to give you a historical background on it is, give you a picture of the property, and then the second picture shows the actual location of her property, and that is correct. She has her trailer house, and then there's a property line, fence line, and then there's another house there. Her well has a water line that services her house, her trailer house, and goes to the other property, so she has been providing water for both residences. And whether that's the cause of what caused it to go dry, I don't know, but I can tell you this much, is we made some phone calls. So I talked to USDA, and I found this program called Rural Development. And they will provide financial assistance to some homeowners, and we've already talked about this, but you have to be 62 years old or older, and they will provide various types of assistance. She's not 62, so that knocks her out. I called them again this morning, USDA, and they can provide Ms. Daniel with a loan if she meets the criteria. Of course, the age is not important at that point, but based on your income and based on your credit score, the USDA will allow you to apply for a loan with them, and I'll give you that contact information later. So as far as the water well goes, well, let me back up. As far as the water, that's that High Plains Water District, and that tax, we all pay that tax to the water district. Your tax is 62 cents for the year, okay? That's what that water district tax is. The electric bill is a different situation like you explained. So I also called the people that had worked on her well, and tell me if I'm correct on this, ma'am. Talked to the owner of High Plains Well out of Amarillo. He came out, visited with her, checked on her well, did a couple of different things, pulled her pump, and put another pump in to see if it was the pump. It's not the pump. Your pump is good. And then at some point, that's another story, is he said you owe him $800 for all the work. He left a check there. He tried to cash it several times. There's not any money in that account, so he hasn't been paid yet. So that's why he's holding your submersible pump. The issue, though, is, according to the High Plains Well Service, is her well is about 200 feet deep, and so it's dry. And so the pump ran while there was not any water down there, so the pipes, the wires burned, and that's on that invoice that just provided here for you. The owner also said that in order for your well to work again, it would, she would have to dig deeper, and at least 400 feet deep, and you would have a trickle of water, just like Commissioner King said. So that's the issue, is you need to dig, she needs to dig a well at least 400 feet or more to be able to see if there's water down there. Talking to that well service, it's gonna run about $15,000 to go that extra 200 plus feet. That's because, and that's only $15,000 because you already have some of that casing and you already have a pump. So that's where we're at on this deal, and my final solution, or my final recommendation would be, that's not a good word. The facts that I can give the court is USDA, I can give her the phone number, she can contact them and see about a possible loan because you don't qualify for any assistance at this point. Any questions?
Okay, any questions of Jesse or Ms. Daniel?
No.
All righty. Thank you, ma'am. All right, that concludes our Friday's agenda, so you have Monday's agenda there. We'll look and see what additional items we might have. I believe all mine are covered this morning. The sheriff's office has personnel.
Yes, sir.
Just general hiring? Okay. Carla's items on there, the burn ban, moving the money. The county attorney has some items on there.
Judge, I've got a couple of things. One is just to ask y'all to authorize me to submit our eminent domain authority report to the controller's office. That's, as you know, is due every year. And so I'll, if y'all will approve that, I'll get it submitted. And I'm not aware of any changes in the additional authority that the legislature has given, so that'd be a simple process. And the other thing is related to the Petersburg variance letter that they requested. Y'all had asked me if there was any liability if the county gives that letter and they have somebody that's not, I guess, a licensed EMT driving the ambulance. Does that open the county up to any liability? And my conclusion was no, but we need to, looking at our contracts as they existed, the fire service for fire protection contracts in the statute provides that when whatever department it is answers a fire call, that they are agents of the county, and that had gotten put into the emergency services contracts, which shouldn't be in there. So I've revised those to take that out, and so there shouldn't be any liability for the county, based on some ambulance services performance or non-performance on an emergency call. So I'm just gonna present those to you so you can get those approved before we get to the season of paying stipends and all that in January, so.
Okay, all right.
And it's for Petersburg, Dalton, and Hale Center, I think there's only 3.
Yes, sir. That's the ones you got
Emergency
listed.
services, medical services contracts we have.
Okay. Any questions with you? Okay. And then Constable 3 is on Monday's agenda. Terry?
Yes, sir. About 3 or 4 years ago, I came to Commissioner's Court asking to put on a reserve deputy constable. Get over here, I'm kind of behind everybody's back over there. And basically that was, had an individual that was no longer in law enforcement, wanted to keep his commission and wanted to work a little bit. Since then, and I'll introduce Michael to you here in just a second, I've had a young man in Abernathy, has been a volunteer firefighter for years. Michael works for Texas Tech University. He's the manager there for all of their cattle programs, probably youngest manager they've ever had for Texas Tech, a responsible young man. Anyways, he has a passion for law enforcement. He has no intentions on going into law enforcement full-time. However, he wants to get certified and do some reserve work. Anyways, with that being said, this will be a great addition to my staff to be able to assist me. I'll be out possibly maybe 1 or 2 months this next year. I'll be having shoulder surgery, and I'm required constitutionally to bailiff for my court. With that being said, I'll have an additional, Mike will be able to come in, his flexibility was scheduled to bailiff for the court in the morning time and to get some of my papers served. And as everyone knows, I come out a lot at night and stuff. So, this will, be an addition to the southern portion of the county to be able to assist the sheriff department on the south end of the county doing some patrol at night and a deterrent for some of the thefts that's being going. But I'd like to introduce you to Michael Looney. Michael.
Yeah. So kind of what Terry said, my name is Michael Looney. I'm 25 years old. I was born and raised east of Abernathy. I'm a 5th generation cattle rancher and cotton farmer. I've had a passion for law enforcement my entire life, since I was young. I'm really interested in more of the Texas cattle raisers deal. That thing's always intrigued me. I know Dean Bohannon and Harold Dempsey and a bunch of those guys real well, and so they've kind of pushed me to law enforcement. And I don't know if this is good or bad, but I've always looked up to, and I'm sure y'all know him, Kelly Vandergrift there in Abernathy has been a big role model in my life from a young age. Chris Daniel, Tony Williams, Terry, these guys in Abernathy. But I knew I was passionate about it, and I was finally at the time in my life. I just had my first daughter, and I decided, well, go for it. So I went and sat through the academy, did very well. And I had looked at doing it full time, but just unfortunately, how you guys know, law enforcement doesn't pay just the best. And financially, I couldn't, quit what I was doing here or my stuff to do full time law enforcement. But I still, it's my passion and desire to get out and help. got on the volunteer fire department when I was 17. They put me through a fire academy. Never went to work full-time as a firefighter. You know, I'm able to do that if I needed to. But I'm just really passionate for helping people, and I think that comes from my agricultural background. It seems like every time someone's stuck in the mud or something breaks, you know, they're always calling me or calling a farmer, and so I just, you know, it's passionate. I like seeing people succeed. I like to help people. And that's really it. You know, I didn't really want to go into a municipality. I'm into the city. I'm more of a county guy. You know, enjoy chasing cows off the road, stuff like that. So that's just kind of where I'm at. So if y'all have any questions.
You better get his number, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Most of the time in the south end of the county, the first call I make is Michael. I mean, he knows just about every farmer and rancher and everybody on the south end of the county. But not only has Michael paid for himself and put himself through the SPAG Academy, and he has bought every bit of his own equipment. He owns everything. You know, one thing I wouldn't do is put somebody on reserve that didn't have a bulletproof vest or something like that. Michael's already purchased his own vest. As far as out of my budget, be absolutely no expenditures whatsoever for equipment. The last time I came to Commissioner's Court, I was kind of just a shot in the dark. You know, just kind of doing a favor for a friend that was wanting to work a little bit extra. But I have talked to Ida, and last time the question was the liabilities. You know, there is absolutely no additional liabilities to the Hale County. And the way Ida described it to me more or less is if we had 2 reserves on or whether we had 100, it's the exact same fee. One of the things I guess in the past is people have had reserve deputies and reserve deputy constables around the county, around the state. And, you know, they put them on and we spend the time through our departments doing all the paperwork and getting them certified and keeping their license and stuff, but they don't show up to work. So, this won't be a problem with Michael being able to assist us, assist me in the southern end of the county. And, you know, be a great benefit to the citizens of Hale County to have him come out and work.
Any questions of Terry?
Is there a salary?
No, it's
So
actually,
it's
everything
just,
it's a volunteer basis.
It's like the old reserve.
Reserve
status.
status. Just another,
One of the things that killed the reserve status back in the day was the requirement that the officers had to have the exact same training as the full-time guys.
Right.
And our old reserve staff, lots of them either worked for Intergas or for Excel Energy. And, you know, they had occupations that would not allow them to go to a SPAG Academy, you know, during the day, or even at night for that matter. And then also to keep their continuing education up. They used to have a status for reserves that they could have a abbreviated training academy, and then their ongoing training was abbreviated. And so they were able to do it. And then when the TICO and the legislature changed the rules that required reserves have equal deal as full pay people, then that more or less killed lots of reserve programs throughout, not only here in Hale County, but throughout the whole state. And of course, you know, lots of it has to do with being a volunteer anymore is a dying
absolutely.
trait. You know, that people don't want to volunteer to serve their communities or whatever. If it's not going to pay, they're not really interested in doing it. So, but, the only question I really had while you were talking was, as young as Michael is and as busy as he is, I wondered if he was a certified peace officer, and y'all have answered that question. So.
Yes, sir. I sponsored him through the SPAG
Okay.
Academy.
So yes, sir, I did that, you know, worked a full-time job, also farmed and ranched, had a kid through the middle of it, and still sat 6 to 10, Monday through Friday for 9 months.
Okay, all right.
So yes, sir.
All right. So, any other questions? All right. Well, Terry, you know, today's deal is just an information deal, and so we'll look at this on Monday and vote on it.
You bet. I just wanted to have the opportunity to introduce you
Yes.
to y'all.
Thank you for coming, Mike.
Yeah, thank you all, absolutely.
I
Thank you
appreciate
guys
y'all's
very
time.
much.
Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. All righty, that,
Mr. Kelly. Thank you, sir.
that concludes, yes.
I do have an item.
Okay, all right.
D, discuss and approve payment of cell phone reimbursement to Jesse Mendoza for January 1st, 2021 through June 30th of 2021. And I put this on the agenda because We would be paying it now, and Jesse was employed as DPS from January 1st to June 30th. We didn't pay it at that time, so we would be paying it now, so I'm asking the court to authorize that expenditure.
Just for explanation, Chris, what we've done in the past, or for many years now, I guess, the two license and weight DPS troopers that were assigned to Hale County, we paid them a stipend for a cell phone, just like you and I get, and county employees get. And what they had, their practice had always been in the past was they let that bill accumulate, and then they were paid at the end of the year. Am I correct me if I'm wrong?
They just, instead of it being, I mean, we didn't pay them through accounts payable every month. They would just come in and request it in December at the end of the year.
Okay.
And it's $600 to each trooper. But Jesse's will be $300 since he left 6 months. Yeah, June 30th.
Okay. And I think Melinda's concern, or I don't want to say concern, but her issue is, if we would have paid Jesse that in June, that wouldn't have been,
Because he was
that
still
would have been the
employed.
norm type deal. And because of his leaving in June and then requesting it now, that makes it, I don't want to say out of the normal, but
We paid after the fact.
it's unusual. And so she's asked the court to approve it.
Okay.
Okay?
Nothing crazy, just for clarity.
All right. Anything else? All right, if there's nothing else, then I'll see y'all on Monday. You have a good weekend, and we'll stand adjourned at 10:14 a.m.